All right, so just to explain why we have a council meeting on a Thursday instead of a normal Tuesday, it's because our prelim levy needs to be approved by September 30th. And back in August, when we were reviewing all of the calendars, we had noticed that one very big item, like from the Department of Revenue, was going to be outstanding. So we already planned this date in case we needed an additional city council meeting in order to complete our business. And that is why we're meeting this evening. So I just wanted to make sure that that was preluded. But our first topic is the election supplies grant application from Susan.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Staff was recently made aware of a grant opportunity from the Center for Tech and Civic Life for COVID-19 response grant for general elections. Their grants are provided to local election jurisdictions across the country to help ensure that election officials have all the supplies and staff and education they need for the upcoming election. The minimum amount of the grant is $5,000. It's a no matching funds required grant, so it wouldn't cost the city anything. The deadline to apply is October 1st. And staff feels that we could use the grant to purchase signage and stuff for curbside voting, hazard pay for election judges, and other supplies. So if you have any questions, I can certainly try and answer them. Otherwise, a motion and a second to allow staff to apply for this grant would be appreciated.
Because of COVID, are we going to have more staff working?
We have not added any more election judges. We feel like.
No, I'm not talking about judges. I'm talking about like people trying to keep people social distancing on their way in and whatnot.
We're not going to have any extra staff per se, but we part of the funds, if we receive the grant, would be, putting out stickers and floor stickers for social distancing. We'll have somebody up at the front entrance like we did at the
That's what
August
I'm getting at,
primary.
yeah.
Handing out masks and the hand sanitizer and stuff.
Okay.
Any other questions for Susan?
What is expanded voter education? What is that? Just the very last thing we have on there is what we use the funds for. What does that entail?
I'm trying to remember. That was for, if we needed anybody at the last minute, we could do the training for them quickly, and we have to pay for that training, which is about 2 hours. So between now and then, if we have any judges that drop out, I know for the primary, we did have 2 people that canceled fairly close to the last minute. So those funds could help with paying for that training and stuff.
Okay. This isn't a grant. Do you have to document all the expenses on this?
Yes, we do.
And is the increased expense going to be $5,000? You said 5,000 was the minimum?
Right, and we can ask for a lower amount if we don't use it all. And we'd be required to submit a report that indicates how we spent the funds, and that would be due by January 31st.
And then you just, any excess funds, if there is excess, you just return them then, or?
Yes, I believe so. And the funds would cover certain 2020 expenses incurred between June 15th and December 31st. So we could potentially use that for some of the signage and stuff that we've
Okay.
purchased already.
I'm good with it.
Is it a reimbursement, or is it something we apply by October 1st, but do we get them, do they cut us a check like October 15th, or is it something we gather up all our receipts, submit it, and then they reimburse us after the fact?
I believe that they let us know, I think they said in here around 2 weeks later if we would receive the grant and what the grant amount would be. And then the money would come to us before the election. So it wouldn't be a reimbursement and sending in receipts. We would receive the funds beforehand.
Okay. And just, the only reason is I said, just so we don't think we're getting $5,000 and all of a sudden, like, oh,
Right.
just kidding, you only get 200.
Yeah, nope, it would be ahead of time.
Okay.
I like free money. What can I say?
How would council like to proceed with this request?
I'd like to make a motion, we do the application for the grant.
Motion from Mike, second from Rick. Any other discussion? Hearing none, those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thanks, Susan.
Thank you.
All right, now the main reason for tonight's meeting, establish the 2021 preliminary levies with Ms. Robinson.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So if you recall, back in March, we actually started our budget process for 2021 with our CIP budgets. So we worked on those for a couple of months, and then we rolled out the operational budgets. And then starting in July, we've met several times on this budget to lead us up to this point. If you'll recall too, we've spent the last couple of years that we refining the CIP budget to make sure that we've included all of our assets, all of our infrastructure, so that we have a solid plan to make sure that we're protecting our assets and our infrastructure. So, like I said, this has led us up to tonight. And so the state requests that all jurisdictions with tax authority certify proposed levies by September 30th. And so tonight, you have before you Resolution 2072. And after a short presentation on the 2021 preliminary levy, we'll go through that resolution. All right, so on this first slide, you'll see the 2020 levy and the 2021 levy and the increase and decrease between those, the percentage of the change from year over year. And you'll see that overall we have a 9.8% increase. The driver of that is the CIP levy. You'll also see the EDA has a 23.6% increase, and that's regulated by the state statute, and so we're near the top end of that. And just remember too that we have the incremental levy amount in the streets, in that streets account. So, and that you'll see that on the next slide. So the 2021 capital levies, as you'll see again, the streets is the driver for the amount that we have for CIP. And remember again, we spent a lot of time making sure that we have all of our streets accounted for, and like I said, this type of budget moves us forward with our keeping our infrastructure in good shape and making sure that we do what we need to do to keep our roads drivable, and so that is our CIP. All right, so our 2021 city and EDA local tax rate, the city tax rate is calculated at 43.15%. Last year it was 40.74, so it's actually 2.41% difference from last year. And an EDA tax capacity is calculated at 1.062, which is 37,000 or 23.6% of an increase from last year. In this slide, I just want to point out that if there were no market value change, a home worth $300,000, and I'm just kind of picking the middle of the line here, but if there were no market value change, the tax increase from last year to this year would be $70. Now, we do have a market value increase of 6%, which is determined by the county assessor. So that $300,000 home last year is now worth $318,090. And then the increase in the tax would be $155. So that's just one example. I kind of like to look at it without the market value change so you can see what the levy does. And similarly with the commercial and industrial, if you have a $2 million building, last year that was worth that and it remained the same this year, you'd see a tax increase of $928. But with our 4.5% increase on the commercial industrial side, that $2 million building would now be worth $2,090,000, and the tax increase would be $1,704. Any questions on any of that? Okay, so Resolution 2072 sets our preliminary levies for the city and EDA. It also sets the date for the public hearing, truth and taxation meeting for December 1st at 5 o'clock. And I'll be happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, motion and second to approve 2072 would be appreciated.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2072, which would set the proposed property tax levy for 2021 and set the truth and taxation meeting for December 1st.
I'll second that.
Motion from Rick, second from Mike. Any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you, Connie. This was, we've spent a lot of time, as we typically do, every year going through the budget cycle, and great work by all the department heads once again.
Thank you so much.
It was above adequacy.
Yeah.
Yes. Does council have anything else for the betterment of Becker for today's special meeting? If not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Motion from Robin, second from Becky. Those in favor can state aye.